Hello, 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 guys. I'm back with another video. Um, let's go. We're gonna make some videos now. We're gonna basically gonna read a little bit. You see this right here? Oh man, let me just go out, bro. But like, all right, let's look at this. Sire, you are too good a king. Like the fox and the hen and the shore. Like it's like some little fucking bullshit made in the story. It's like these folk tales and shit. Yeah, exactly. The best fables of La Fontaine. Jean de La Fontaine. That's how you pronounce it. That's how you fucking pronounce it. Image: a mine full of diamonds and rubies. You dug for it, you found it, and your wealth is now assured. Guard it with your life. Robbers and thieves will appear from all sides. Never take your wealth for granted and constantly renew it. Time will diminish the jewel's luster and bury them from sight. Authority. Therefore, I would wish our courtier to bolster up his inherent worth with skill and cunning, and ensure that whenever he has to go where he is a stranger, he is preceded by a good reputation. For the fame which appears to rest on the opinions of many fosters a certain unshakable belief in a man's worth, which is then easily strengthened in minds and already thus disposed and prepared. I'm kind of understanding how reputation plays a critical role in society. Because when you want to go into business with someone, let's say, for example, you own like a massive, I don't know, you're an oil magnate or something, or a steel tycoon or whatever the fuck you are. You own a steel business or an and then you want to go into business with this other guy, but you don't know him. He's a stranger. So then you obviously have to rely on his reputation to understand who he is. And reputation is what is reputation exactly? What does it actually mean? It's how you're perceived by others in society. That's what it is. That's what reputation is. Reputation is how you're perceived in society. That's exactly what it is. There's also different types of reputation too. Criminal reputation, societal reputation, employment reputation. Like there's a lot of different types of reputation. All right, let's read this one up a little bit. I actually want to read a let's see. Let's read the observance of law too. I think we've already read part one, but let's read part two. In 1841, the young P.T. Barnum, trying to establish his reputation as America's premier showman, decided to purchase the American Museum in Manhattan and turn it into a collection of curiosities that would secure his fame. The problem was that he had no money. The museum's asking price was $15,000. But Barnum was able to put together a proposal that appealed to the institution's owners, even though it replaced cash up front with dozens of guarantees and references. So he's broke as shit, he has no money. He didn't have the $15,000. So what did he do? He came up with some kind of proposal that appealed to the institution owners, even though it replaced cash up front with dozens of guarantees and references. So you replace cash with guarantees and reference? What the fuck? It doesn't make sense to me. I can't fathom the whole concept. Well, because the guarantees and references that he gave were enough to give them the money back, or maybe there was some type of guarantee that they would get the money back in a certain time frame, or blah blah blah. Well, let's just say the guarantee and the references was good enough for the museum owners to accept P.T. Barnum's deal initially, because you got to read on a little bit. The juice is coming right now. Wait. The owners came to a verbal agreement with Barnum, which isn't necessarily legally binding in a court of law at that time. Now, in some different countries, like you can make a verbal agreement and then it can be legally binding. But at this time, the verbal agreement wasn't legally binding. So what did they do? But at the last minute, the principal partner changed his mind, and the museum and its collection were sold to the directors of Peale's museum. Barnum was infuriated, but the partner explained that business was business. The museum had been sold to Peale's because Peale's had a reputation, and Barnum had none. Barnum immediately decided that if he had no reputation to bank on, his only recourse was to ruin the reputation of Peale's. Accordingly, he launched a letter writing campaign in the newspapers. With what money? You know, that's the thing. Because at the beginning of the observance of the law, they did say P.T. Barnum had no money. They said that he was broke. He didn't have the $15,000 that the museum asked for. So now he's got the money to start a letter writing campaign. Probably did something to get the money that the book doesn't mention, which makes sense, I guess. I don't know. He launched the letter writing campaign in the newspapers, calling the owners a bunch of broken down bank directors who had no idea how to run a museum or entertain people. He warned the public against buying Peale's stock, since the business's purchase of another museum would invariably spread its resources thin. The campaign was effective. The stock plummeted, and with no more confidence in Peale's track record and reputation, the owners of the American Museum reneged on their deal and sold the whole thing to Barnum. Wow, okay, the campaign was effective. The stock plummeted. Yeah, because he basically went against his reputation right now. So it's like, it took years for Peale to recover, and they never forgot what Barnum had done. Mr. Peale himself decided to attack Barnum by building a reputation for highbrow entertainment, promoting his museum's programs as more scientific than of his vulgar competitor. Mesmerism was one of Peale's scientific attractions, and for a while it drew big crowds and was quite successful. To fight back, Barnum decided to attack Peale's reputation yet once again. Smart guy. So to ruin a person, so this is what I learned from this. To ruin a person's reputation, you also have to kind of do a lot of research and a lot of introspective thought, and kind of like do a lot of research on their character, how they move. You gotta know a little bit about them, so that you can know where to attack and which chinks in the armor to actually like focus on. In other words, like, how are you gonna ruin his reputation when you don't know what his reputation is? You gotta know what the fuck his reputation is built on. You gotta know what the fuck his reputation's about. Blah blah blah. This and that. Shit. I'm heading to the gym in a bit, so let me just finish this video off. Barnum organized a rival mesmeric performance in which he himself apparently put a little girl into a trance. Once she had seemed to fall deeply under, he tried to hypnotize members of the audience, but no matter how hard he tried, this was by design, by the way. He didn't want the audience to be falling into a trance, because that would only reinforce Peale's reputation. He wanted to ruin Peale's reputation. He wanted to do the opposite. So what did he do? He made his magical act lose all luster. He made it look like it was some kind of trick, and that it wasn't a magical act. So the popularity of it went down, because people saw that the effects that he was having before were no longer having its effect. But no matter how hard he tried, none of the spectators fell under his spell, and many of them began to laugh. A frustrated Barnum finally announced that to prove the little girl's trance was real, he would cut off one of her fingers. Without her noticing. But as he sharpened the knife, the little girl's eyes popped open and she ran away, to the audience's delight. He repeated this and other parodies for several weeks. Soon no one could take Peale's show seriously, and attendance went way down. Within a few weeks, the show closed. Over the next few years, Barnum established a reputation for audacity and consummate showmanship that lasted his whole life. Peale's reputation, on the other hand, never recovered. What does that tell you? What do you learn from that observance? Interpretation. It kind of explains it as well. The book kind of gives you an explanation for how you should interpret the judgment of each law. and you get an introduction also that kind of sets the stage for the observance, and then the observance sets the stage for the interpretation, and then the interpretation sets the stage for the keys to power, and then the keys to power sets the stage for the judgment, which is at the end of the chapter. And then there's the reversal as well, which how the pitfalls and the disadvantages of using this technique on certain people. Each chapter has the reversal, which is good. Barnum used two different tactics to ruin Peel's reputation. The first was simple. He sowed doubts about the museum's stability and solvency. Doubt is a powerful tool. Once you let it out of the bag with the insidious rumors, your opponents are in a horrible dilemma. On the one hand, they can deny the rumors, even prove that you have slandered them, but a layer of suspicion will remain. Why are they defending themselves so desperately? Maybe the rumor has some truth to it. If, on the other hand, they take the high road and ignore you, the doubts unrefuted will be even stronger. If done correctly, the sowing of rumors can so infuriate and unsettle your opponents, rivals, same shit, that in defending themselves, they will make numerous mistakes. This is the perfect weapon for those who have no reputation of their own to work from. Once Barnum did have a reputation of his own, he used the second, gentler tactic, the fake hypnotism demonstration, which I just explained. He ridiculed his rival's reputation. This too was extremely successful. Once you have a solid base of respect, ridiculing your opponent both puts him on the defensive and draws more attention to you. Enhancing your own reputation. Outright slander and insult are too strong at this point. They are ugly and may hurt you more than they will help you. But gentle barbs and mockery suggest that you have a strong enough sense of your own worth to enjoy a good laugh at your rival's expense. A humorous front can make you out as a harmless entertainer while poking holes in the reputation of your rival. It is easier to cope with a bad conscience than with a bad reputation. Why? Because the conscience, when you have a bad conscience, it only pertains to you. When you have a bad reputation, it pertains to everyone, society. That's how it is. You don't have to like it, but it's just the way it is, Keys to power. The people around us, even our closest friends, will always to some extent remain mysterious and unfathomable. Their characters have secret recesses that they never reveal. The unknowableness of other people could prove disturbing if we thought about it long enough, since it would make it impossible for us to really judge other people. So we try to ignore this fact and judge people on their appearances, on what is most visible to our eyes, clothes, gestures, words, actions. In the social realm, appearances are the barometer of almost all our judgments, and you must never be misled into believing otherwise. One false slip, one awkward or sudden change in your appearance can prove disastrous. This is the reason for the supreme importance of making and maintaining a reputation that is of your own creation. The reputation will protect you in the dangerous game of appearances, distracting the probing eyes of others from knowing what you are really like, and giving you a degree of control over how the world judges you. A powerful position to be in. Reputation has a power like magic. With one stroke of its wand. That's funny, like hand, wand. With one stroke of its wand, it can double your strength. It can also send people scurrying away from you. Whether the exact same deeds appear brilliant or dreadful can depend entirely on the reputation of the doer. Interesting. In the ancient Chinese court of the Wei Kingdom, there was a man named Mitsuhishia, who had a reputation for supreme civility and graciousness. He became the ruler's favorite. It was a law in Wei that whoever rides secretly in the ruler's coach shall have his feet cut off. But when Mitsuhishia's mother fell ill, he used the royal coach to visit her, pretending that the ruler had given him permission. When the ruler found out, he said, "How dutiful is Mitsuhishia." For his mother's sake, he even forgot that he was committing a crime, making him liable to lose his feet. This brings into the power of perspective thing, because the ruler said that no one could go into his coach, or they would get their feet cut off if they went in there secretly without his permission. In this instance, he went into the coach without his permission, but the guy didn't take it as an insult. I mean, the person, the royal, what's his name, the ruler, he didn't take it as an insult because he felt like for his mother's sake, he even forgot that he was committing a crime, making him liable to lose his feet. You see how even things that are against, like even things that you shouldn't do can be perceived as good if you're like the end justify the means, I guess. Something like that, man. It's philosophical bullshit, but another time, but it also ties into reputation too. Another time, the two of them took a stroll in an orchard. Mitsuhishiya began eating a peach that he could not finish, and he gave the ruler the other half to eat. The ruler remarked, "You love me so much that you would even forget your own saliva taste and let me eat the rest of the peach." Come on, now he's starting to suck up to him a little bit, you know. Later, however, envious fellow courtiers spreading word that Mitsuhishiya was actually devious and arrogant. Come on, perfect. The other courtiers got jealous. They got jealous, bro. They got jealous because the ruler was favoring one particular courtier over the others. So that means that the other courtiers are going to be pretty jealous and envious of you, which means they're going to which means they're going to go behind your back to try and create some type of chaos so that they can improve their own position. You see, in today's world, it's kind of similar to how jobs and bosses are, right? You're at work, one person gets a promotion, they become this level, they become the manager or the store manager or the assistant manager. Everyone else under is unhappy now because that person got promoted, and now they're going to try to sabotage your promotion. And then, but you got to have a reputation that's strong enough to be able to withstand attacks from all sides. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. Later, however, envious and jealous courtiers spreading word that Mitsuhishiya was actually devious and arrogant succeeded in damaging his reputation. The ruler came to see his actions in a new light. "This fellow once rode in my couch, under pretense of my honor," he told the courtiers angrily. "And another time, he gave me a half-eaten peach for the same actions that had charmed the ruler when he was the favorite. Mitsuhishiya now had to suffer the penalties. The fate of his feet depended solely on the strength of his reputation. In the beginning, you must work to establish a reputation for one outstanding quality, whether generosity, honesty, or cunning. This quality sets you apart and gets other people to talk about you. You then make your reputation known to as many people as possible. Subtly, though, take care to build slowly and with a firm foundation, and watch as it spreads like wildfire. A solid reputation increases your presence and exaggerates your strengths without you having to spend too much energy. It can also, a solid reputation increases your presence and exaggerates your strengths without you having to spend too much energy. It can also create an aura around you that will instill respect, even fear. In the fighting in the North African desert during World War II, the German general Erwin Rommel had a reputation for cunning and for deceptive maneuvering that struck terror into everyone who faced him. Even when his forces were depleted and when British tanks outnumbered his by 5-1, entire cities would be evacuated at the news of his approach. As they say, your reputation inevitably precedes you, and if it inspires respect, a lot of your work is done for you before you arrive on the scene or utter a single word. Wow. Your success seems destined by your prior triumphs. I was about to say prior past, same shit. Your success seems destined by your prior triumphs. Much of the let me read the rest of this. Much of the success of Henry Kissinger's shuttle diplomacy rested on his reputation for ironing out differences. No one wanted to be seen as so unreasonable that Kissinger could not sway him. A peace treaty seemed a fait accompli as soon as Kissinger's name became involved in the negotiations. I think fait accompli means a matter of time or just, inevitable. Make your reputation simple and base it on one sterling quality. This single quality, efficiency, say, or seductiveness, becomes a kind of calling card that announces your presence and places others under a spell. A reputation for honesty will allow you to practice all manners of deception. So if you're basically known for telling the truth, you can slip in dishonest acts amongst the honest acts, and then people won't even realize which one's true or not, and then they'll just take your word for it. They'll give you the benefit of the doubt because you have a reputation for honesty, right? So they're not gonna think, oh fuck you, that motherfucker's lying to me. No, no, they'll think, no, he's telling the truth, because people don't really have enough time to kind of investigate and see if everything is the truth, because they have their own lives to live, bro. They have their own problems to deal with. They have their own girlfriends, relationships, wives, family, job. Like they have so much things to think about. Like people don't really think too much about stuff, you know. Make your reputation simple and base it on one sterling quality, the single quality. Efficiency, say, or seductiveness becomes a kind of calling card that announces your presence and places others under a spell. A reputation for honesty will allow you to practice all manner of deception. Casanova used his reputation as a great seducer to pave the way for his future conquests. Women who had heard of his powers became immensely curious and wanted to discover for themselves what made him so romantically successful. Perhaps you have already stained your reputation so that you are prevented from establishing a new one. In such cases, it is wise to associate with someone whose image counteracts your own, using their good name to whitewash and elevate yours. Basically, whitewash means get rid of all the fucking negative things. It's like when white people make those movies with, what do you call it? Cleopatra, and she's white. Or they make that movie with, what do you call it? Avatar, and everyone's white. Or they make this other movie about this Persian guy and he's white. It's like, what the fuck? And then you watch Star Wars and all the characters are white, even though the books, some of the characters are black or Middle Eastern or whatever. It's like, come on, bro. Anyways, let's keep going. It is hard, for example, to raise a reputation for dishonesty by yourself, but a parallel of honesty can help. When P.T. Barnum wanted to clean up a reputation for promoting vulgar entertainment, he bought the singer Jenny Lind over from Europe. She had a stellar, high-class reputation, and the American tour Barnum sponsored for her greatly enhanced his own image. Similarly, the great robber barons of 19th century America were long unable to rid themselves of a reputation for cruelty and dishonesty and mean-spiritedness. Only when they began collecting art, the names of Frick and Morgan became permanently associated with those of Da Vinci and Rembrandt, were they able to soften their unpleasant image. Reputation is a treasure to be carefully collected and hoarded, especially when you are first establishing it. You must protect it strictly, anticipating all attacks on it. Once it is solid, do not let yourself get angry or defensive at the slanderous comments of your enemies. That reveals insecurity, not confidence in your reputation. Take the high road instead, and never appear desperate in your self-defense. On the other hand, an attack on another man's reputation is a potent weapon, particularly when you have less power than he does. He has much more to lose in such a battle, and your own thus far small reputation gives him a small target when he tries to return your fire. Barnum used such campaigns to great effect in his early career, but this tactic must be practiced with skill. You must not seem to engage in petty vengeance. If you do not break your enemy's reputation cleverly, you mean cleverly, you will inadvertently ruin your own. Thomas Edison, considered the inventor who harnessed electricity, believed that a workable system would have to be based on direct current. When the Serbian scientist Nikola Tesla appeared to have succeeded in creating a system based on alternating current, Edison was furious. He determined to ruin Tesla's reputation by making the public believe that the AC system was inherently safe, and Tesla irresponsible in promoting it. To this end, he captured all kinds of household pets and electrocuted them to death with an AC current. When this wasn't enough, in 1890 he got New York State prison authorities to organize the world's first execution by electrocution, using an AC current. But Edison's electrocution experiments had all been done with small creatures. The charge was too weak and the man was only half killed. In perhaps the country's coolest state-authorized execution, procedure had to be repeated. It was an awful spectacle. Although in the long run, it is Edison's name that has survived, at the time his campaign damaged his own reputation more than Tesla's. He backed off. The lesson is simple: never go too far in attacks like these, for that will draw more attention to your own vengefulness than the person you are slandering. When your own reputation is solid, use subtler tactics such as satire and ridicule to weaken your opponent while making you out as a charming rogue. Oh, okay. Satire and ridicule. The mighty lion. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. What the fuck? The mighty lion toys with the mouse that crosses his path. Any other reaction would mar his fearsome reputation. A mine full of diamonds and rubies. You dug for it, you found it, and your wealth is now assured. Guard it with your life. Robbers and thieves will appear from all sides. And never take your wealth for granted, and constantly renew it time after time. Time will diminish the jewel's luster and bury them from sight. Therefore, I should wish our courtier to bolster up his inherent worth with skill and cunning, and ensure that whenever he has to go where he is a stranger, he is preceded by a good reputation. For the fame which appears to rest on the opinions of many fosters a certain unshakable belief in a man's worth, which is then easily strengthened in minds already thus disposed and prepared. Reversal. There is no possible reversal. Reputation is critical. There are no exceptions to this law. Perhaps not caring what others think of you, you gain a reputation for insolence and arrogance, but that can be a valuable image in itself. Oscar Wilde used it to great advantage. Since we live in society and must depend on the opinions of others, there is nothing to be gained by neglecting your reputation. By not caring how you are perceived, you let others decide this for you. Be the master of your fate and also of your reputation. A beautiful chapter for a beautiful book, but a very ruthless book indeed.